Director Quentin Taratino does it again with his own version of a Western whodunit. The Hateful Eight, directed by Quentin Taratino, the man who brought us movies like The Reservoir Dogs, the Kill Bill films, and Django Unchained. This movie is awesome. Filmed in 70mm. If you go to the theaters to see this film, try to see it in the 70mm format because the experience is really great and it really feels like an old-fashioned Western movie with the overture that takes a minute for the movie to start at that point, and then when the movie begins, it's segmented into chapters to really flesh out the characters and help you figure out who is the guilty party or parties. There could be more than one guilty character in this movie. And then there's a little intermission in the middle of the film to give you a chance to actually go get more snacks or something, and then the movie begins again right where it left off. And this movie is fantastic. I really like this film. Even though there's not that much action, the dialogue in this movie that fills in the gaps really keeps you riveted and engaged in the movie. The plot of this movie is you got this bounty hunter named Joe Ruth, played by Kurt Russell. He's called the Hangman. Most other bounty hunters, like Samuel Jackson's character Marcus Warren, when they catch you and you're wanted dead or alive, they'll kill you. But not Joe Ruth, the Hangman. No, he catches you, he's bringing you in to hang. And he has caught a bounty, Daisy DeMorin, I think her last name is something like that, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, our prisoner. He's bringing her in on his private stagecoach. He meets up with two other members of the Hateful Eight, Samuel Jackson's character Major Marcus Warren, and Walter Goggins' character, who is the sheriff of the county that Joe Ruth is bringing his prisoner in, Chris Mannix. So we got a sheriff, a bounty hunter, and a hangman, and a prisoner. That's 4 out of the 8 so far. And when we get to Minnie's cabin, we meet the other members of the Hateful Eight. Tim Roth, who's doing his best impersonation of Christoph Waltz, makes me believe that his part was originally for Christoph, but because he was in the latest James Bond film, Spectre, they couldn't get him, so let's get Tim Roth instead and have him do impersonation of Christoph Waltz. And he's great in this movie. His character is called the Little Man, Oswaldo Mabre. Bruce Dern is General Smithers, the Confederate. Michael Marsden from The Reservoir Dogs, Mr. Blonde from The Reservoir Dogs, is the cowpuncher in this movie, Bob Gage. And Damian Bitcher is Bob the Mexican. Later on in the movie, a surprise actor shows up. I don't want to mention who he is, but it was a bit of a surprise when I saw his name on IMDb. I was a bit surprised that he was in this movie. This movie is great. I really did like this movie. The dialogue in this movie is great. The action that does happen in this movie is really good, and it really does a good job keeping you engaged in this film, even though it's a bit long, and I didn't mind that. The experience of a 70mm format is really cool. Eventually this movie will come to digital format, but I think when it does come to digital, the overture part and the intermission is going to be taken out, so it's just going to be done in one segment. And it will take away a little bit from the experience of the movie, but it will still be an excellent film, I think. And I don't know if you're going to still get these program books if you go see it in the digital format rather than 70mm. But if you do, great. If you don't, program books are great. I think each one comes with a centerfold of one of the members of Hateful Eight. The one I got the bounty hunter, Samuel Jackson's character. I was hoping to get Kurt Russell's character in the centerfold of mine, but oh well. Really, this movie is so good. I really did like this, and everybody does a fantastic job. My favorite characters in this film was, of course, Kurt Russell, the Hangman, and Samuel L. Jackson's character, the bounty hunter. And Jennifer Jason Leigh was great in this movie too. I really did like her. And you're trying to figure out who are the guilty parties that are trying to help Daisy get away. It's a process of elimination, and it is just really good as you're watching this movie and figuring it out, the who done it in this movie. You just like a Western version of Clue. That is just great. Not as good as some of Quentin Tarantino's previous films like Django Unchained or Reservoir Dogs, or maybe the Kill Bill films might have been a little bit better because they were more fast-paced and more action-packed. But this movie's just as good and really does a great job. So I'm definitely going to give this movie an A. Definitely check this movie out. Try to see it in the 70mm format if you can. If not, go for the digital format when it eventually comes to your area in the digital format, and definitely check this movie out. See if you can get it in the 70mm format when it comes out on Blu-ray. And that's all I gotta say for The Hateful Eight.